Welcome back to State of the Art. I'm your host, Tony Walsh, and today, as promised, we're going to show you some more of our local talent. We're going to talk to Mr. Bill. Welcome to the show. But why don't you start by giving us an idea of what we're going to see, or some of the work we're going to see here today?
Well, you can see just about everything here in the living room I made. But if you want to know what the first thing I ever did, or one of the best things I ever did, is the Lord's Prayer. I had a hand in with Moses. Moses made that out of stone.
Now,
I made that out of wood.
You say you made the Lord's Prayer. First of all, how long ago did this take place?
About 57 years ago.
Go on. That's a long while. And you say the Lord's Prayer, you actually made it out of wood?
Yeah, every one of the letters are all cut out and all placed on a tablet form. It's 3 foot high and 21 inches wide, and all the letters are all glued on in the proportion, you know, to where they should go in that.
Okay.
English letters.
So we have the Lord's Prayer, word for word, on a large plaque.
Mm-hmm.
That must have taken a lot of time.
It did. I don't remember exactly, but I think I was back in the mind. I think somewhere around 48 days.
Really?
And to make it. Made with a fret saw.
And how old were you when you did this?
17.
So this is one of your very first works, then?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Now, you did the Lord's Prayer, and what did you do with it after you had it completed?
Well, in the old church, the old Anglican church, that if you remember, or someone can remember anyway, I put it in there in remembrance of my grandfather and grandmother. And then when they built a new church in '63, I think it was, I transferred it over there and put it in the church there. It's in the rear of the church, right alongside the memorial altar.
So the church still has it. That
oh,
is
yes,
still,
yeah.
and it's still in good condition after all these years?
Exactly the same as I made it.
So you couldn't have been a bad man to start with in
Oh,
terms
no.
of woodworking then?
I was going to say something, but I shouldn't.
Okay, well let's move you along a little bit now. You started with the Lord's Prayer. Did you have any training basically when you started this?
No, nothing.
You just took this upon yourself to do it, and
yeah. See, I used to do a lot of fretwork early days.
Bill, tell me first, what is fretwork?
Fretwork is little scroll work, but now they call it scroll work.
Okay.
They don't call it fretwork anymore.
So
no.
basically the same art then?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it's done with a hand. My work was all done with a hand saw. Hands coping, what I call fret saw, about 18 inches deep and a 5-inch blade.
Okay.
And make the best of it, I did the whole works. I broke off 3 of them blades, and the blades are only about as big as a piece of fine sewn cotton.
Oh yes, so that you could get in and make the fine cuts around the letters. Yeah. Okay. Now, you moved from this up to the art of woodworking, because I can look around your house here, and I can see quite a bit of furniture stuff that you've made yourself. Are there any pieces here in the living room that you've made? The table set, for instance, here. This is your work, is it?
Oh, yeah. This all made out of cherry wood.
Okay, but it looks a little dark for cherry. Is
stained.
You stained it?
Stained it with a special walnut.
Okay, that's okay. Give us some idea about you know, the wood. Where'd you get the wood to start with? Because cherry is not easy to acquire, is it?
If you know where to go to get it, but it's beginning to get scarce now. Cherry mostly grows in a place where there's a right-of-way cut, like on a railroad or a highway, and when the ground is pushed back or the land is cleared, first thing you see growing is alders and cherry wood.
I see.
There's a heck of a lot of it. There's only about as big as egg cups, but there's more of it. Now, most all I had was about 6 and 8 inches in diameter.
And this set that we have here is made from all that same cherry wood that you cut yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bill, can you tell me about your pride and joy, your cherry wood bedroom set? When I saw it earlier, the color is completely different than this.
Yeah, but that's natural.
You left it in the natural state?
Yeah, that only have 3 coats of urethane, 2 coats of satin, and 1 coat of high gloss.
And there's no stain?
And no stain.
Just in the natural state?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll notice the different colors. There's light and dark. There's 5 different colors in that.
Yes.
You see it. That's all just one in cherry. I'll probably on 5 or 6 different sticks, you know.
Okay. Now you've got 7 different pieces of furniture here.
Yeah.
Okay. And you all 7 pieces made yourself?
Right.
Give me an idea how long it took you.
In time, you better put this together now. I started that in November 1977, and I ended up in March in 1978. But not full time, not 8 hours a day now.
No.
The only time I put 8 or 10 hours a day would be on a Saturday.
Sure.
And I never worked a Sunday.
So it was about a year and a half then before it was from start to finish.
Right.
Did you cut all that cherry yourself?
Yeah, 2 years took me to cut it off.
And
Two falls. You don't cut it in the summer. You don't cut cherry or any wood in the summer, not for use for woodwork. Because the sap is all down into it, and it'll straight and crack and burst, and all go to the blazes. It's no good.
So you cut in the fall?
Cut in the fall, the sap has gone down the roots.
What about in the spring?
No, same thing. It's
still
start
no
to come up.
Okay.
Get in the fall.
Bill, how much cherry wood did it take to do this set?
It was a full pickup load of not a level pan, but a pan about, what, almost a foot above the pan on a pickup. And the pickup was 18 inches deep, I think.
Right, so it was a good day's work then to cut it all.
Oh, I couldn't cut it in a day.
Oh, is that right?
No, I cut that. I start in the, say, early part of October, when the leaves start to fall off the trees. And every evening I come off work, I'd go out on the Badger Road, the Trans-Canada Highway going to Norris's Arm. Then the new highway wasn't there. And there was towers of cherry there on the sides of the road, in so far. And I'd go in and cut some, and fill up the trunk of my car and bring it home. And the next day I go back and get some more. And then I found a nice spot on Bay Spear Road, right where the high roads got their depot there now, where they piles of salt.
Right, sure.
I cut sticks there 60 foot tall.
Oh, that's lots of cherry.
Yeah, and they were 8 inches down the butt and about 5 inches up in the top.
Okay. Now, when you got the wood home and you had it all cut in strips and all cleaned, how long does it take from the time you cut the wood till you can use it?
About a year and a half.
Okay.
So you could turn around and say there's about almost 3 years. Take 3 years to cut the stick, and get it sawed and piled up and let it dry before you can use it.
Okay.
If you took a chance on using it before that, you're allowed to have shrinkage.
Okay. Well, we look at the bed here, and it's a fairly big piece of furniture. The headboard is especially nice.
Right.
Tell us about the construction of it. What kind of things you had to do to get it together? And
well, first of all, I had to make the background, the foundation of it, with 1/2-inch plywood. And I cut all the cherry up in the 3/8 by 1 1/4 inch. And
go ahead.
Yeah, and hand jointed them all, what they call hand jointed. Now, if a carpenter's listening, see this, he'll know what hand joining means. You could never join them, the boards squarely with your planer. She'd always be a little ripping to them or so. So I got a 22-inch plane that I hand jointed every single board into it. And that just fit them together.
Fit them together by hand, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah, just glue them all together on top of the plywood. And the molding on the edge around there, I put on solid, just a solid piece of wood, and took a chance on running the molding on after I had it put together.
Okay. Looking at the bed, the thing that stands out, of course, when you look at it first, is the little bit of wood carving that you've got implanted on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do that yourself too?
Oh yeah. There's a story about that, but I don't think I'll say that on the.
Okay. Do you do a bit of wood carving too?
No.
Can I assume by looking at this?
No.
No. It was
No,
just
I
that.
haven't got a clue. I couldn't cut a sharpened top on a pencil with a pocket knife.
Is that a fact?
No.
And you can do such beautiful work here because looking at your dresser here and your highboy and the end tables, and you don't do any wood carving at all.
No.
Okay.
I like to do it. I bought a set of carving chisels. It cost me $135. A beautiful set. And I was going to do some wood carving. I haven't got a clue. Could never get into it. But I've copied a few things. If you give me something that's done already, and say, copy that, I can do it.
Okay.
But I can't do it from memory. I can't do anything like that.
Okay. Now, Bill, we've had a good look at your bed. Let's talk about some of the other pieces here. I noticed the dresser, or highboy, I guess you'd call it here, the piece without the mirror. It's got a little side table on it.
Yeah.
That's your own design?
I designed all that myself, and I never put anything on paper because I can't put anything on paper to draw, to make. I can't draw anything. I can mark down a few figures. That's all. But in regards to drawing out a design to go to work on, I can't do it. I never was any good to draw a sketch for anyone. You could tell me what you want to do, and I can mark it down my head like that. Good enough. I know what you want. But you put it on paper, I can take it off. But I can't draw something and give you. And the design of the bedroom set, I just come up with myself and made it all up. And the drawers are put together with a dovetail joint. What they call a dovetail. You don't use no nails. You just put a little bit of glue on one or two, and that, and push it together, they're locked.
And that's good for life?
That's good for life.
Okay.
And that's not new. A dovetail joint today is not new. They were made hundreds of years ago.
Sure,
and all
probably
made
before there was nails.
Yeah, made by hand. No tools. You got the tools now to do the job for you.
Mm-hmm. And do you do your dovetails with a tool, or do you do it by hand?
with a tool.
You have a dovetail tool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the reason for the little side table here?
On the side?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a mistake. That was supposed to be on the other side. And when I was making it, I was in the workshop and I was picturing, this is going to be over here, and it's going to be over here. And then I said, make up your mind. So I made it up and I put on that end. When I got in the room, I discovered it was on the wrong side. But the idea of it was to put TV on. When you're in the bed, you want to look at see the TV.
Right, right.
See? But now it's still working okay.
Yeah.
TV is up on top now.
Sure. And let's move over to the dresser here. You know, it's a nice design. It's a design that I'm familiar with because you see a lot of dressers around today.
One
like
with a
this.
mirror.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 2 years after I made that, that came out in Sears catalog. So I don't know if somebody sneaked in and took a picture of it. Exactly the same thing as that.
Really?
Because people come in and say, "Oh, you copied that with Sears catalog." I said, "I made that before Sears catalog came out." With that pattern into it.
And is theirs a solid wood unit?
I don't know.
It's probably a veneer, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, 90%, he does. Yeah, I'll tell you a little story about walnut now. If I was up, an old Scotsman, I call him a Scotchman. He said, "No, I'm not a Scotchman, I'm a Scotsman." I said, "Okay, sir." He was a cabinet maker from the time he was 12 years old. And he came over to Canada, over the United States, and he worked over in Detroit with Ford Motor Company, making the patterns for machinery, you know, for the cars, it was made in the foundry. And then he moved over to Windsor, and my son was a TV technician, and he took me out one day to see the stuff he had made. And the old guy there, he said, it was all made out of walnut. Everything he had there was walnut. I said, "Where do you get the walnut?" He said, "All my friends around here, they got walnut trees in their gardens." He said, "Every fall or every spring or sometimes always a limb breaks off." So I got names enough to be book, he says, to give them a call to pick up them limbs. And come down to the basement, I'll show you. Down the basement, that's where his workshop was still. He had little racks up, he had a little piece of branches stuck in here and there. You use that? He said, "Yeah." And he got little boxes of little things made. And he said, he said, today, that piece of walnut up there, he said, is worth about $22 a foot, a square foot board measure, board foot.
Amazing.
And he said, he said, there's furniture around the United States and Canada, probably down in your home, he said, too. It was made out of solid walnut, 1.5 tops or 2-inch tops on tables and dressers and seats and chairs, he said, which was a crime, a crime, a crime. Now, he said, you can make it out of 1/85 of an inch thick. Veneer.
Veneer, sure.
And you got practically the same thing. And in regard to a person telling you, he said that that's not worth as much as that. He said, what the heck is the difference?
Mm-hmm.
You're only going to put your arms onto your table, your plate on it or something, and eat your food and that, and the table is pushed back. Nobody's going to walk on it.
No, that's a fact. Bill, you've got a tiny box here on the dresser. Can you tell me the story behind that? That
little jewelry box, that's made of apple wood. And my next door neighbor here, he had an apple tree in his garden that he had trouble with the boys up into it every night when the apples got on it. So he asked me for a buck saw one day, and I gave him the saw, and he sawed down the tree, and I said, now, where you get that saw down? Throw it over in my garden. He said, what are you going to do with that? I said, oh, I'll find something to do with it. I burned a lot of it, I said, but a lot of it I can use that wood. And about 2 years after, I had it all drying out in the workshop. 2 years after, I took up a junk, and I cut it up, and I made a spice rack, and brought it over and gave it to the missus. I said, here's part of your apple tree. She couldn't believe it.
That's what you call recycling, eh?
Yeah, that's recycling.
Yeah. Bill, did you make the rocking chair as well?
Yeah, 21 hours work.
Really?
Yeah. Most of that was made by hand. Of course, the turning was only done on the lathe. I did that on the lathe. But the back part that goes, you see the top back?
The spindles up the back?
No, yeah, the spindles all made by hand because they're too small for me to spin in the lathe. And the back part that they go up into, up on top, there's 8 pieces of wood all glued in together. And that's how I had to make the circle. Because that's got a kind of a...
It's got a little curve to it.
Curve to it,
sure. Yeah. And the curve, because it is curved,
yeah.
this is why you had to make it in so many pieces.
Yeah, I couldn't get a piece of wood big enough.
Right. And does the same apply to the...
seat?
To the seat?
Oh, hell, I think there's about 24, 25 pieces in the seat.
Really? So this chair took you a long time to make?
Yeah, 21 hours.
21 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was worth it.
You couldn't sell it.
No, it was worth it, though, I tell you. It's a beautiful piece of work.
Yeah.
Bill, I'd like to get back to the living room for a moment. Can you point out some more of your work?
A chair there, and a china cabinet behind you there. A china cabinet I made about 30 years ago.
That's a major work.
Yeah.
And what kind of wood did you use on that?
Birch.
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 Now, I guess birch is a little easier to acquire than cherry.
Yeah, but it's harder to work.
Is it really?
Yeah. The only thing I've seen that is that chair, that birch, is the paneling on the sides, and that's walnut. I happened to come into a sheet of 1/4 inch walnut one time, and I used that for the side panels. But all the rest, the doors and all the moldings and everything is made out of birch.
Okay, all done by yourself?
All done by myself, yeah.
Okay, and you got this cabinet. I notice you've got a couple of curio cabinets,
yeah.
Little display cabinets around. Are these your work also?
Right, that one over in the corner there, behind the TV, I made that one about, 10 years ago. And the little fellow here alongside the door, I made over 6 or 7 years ago. I made 2 like that, and I had one on that side of the fireplace, one on this side. And a friend of mine come in just before Christmas. He said, "Boy, what the heck can you make me for your wife for Christmas?" He said, "I got to get something different." He said, "Something like, what do you got here? What do you got here?" I said, "Oh, lots of things here, boy." He said, "Oh, one like that over there in the corner." I said, "I won't have time to make it." I said, "How about one of those here?" The wife now, I put one there. She said, "What do you want that there for?" 2. You know, you're cramming the room up. So I said, "Oh, I'll stick one on top of the other one and make it 2, make it look like the other one over there." Anyway, she said, "Get rid of it." So I said to Buddy, I said, "How would you like to have one down like that?" "Oh, boy, #1. I'll give you 2 days," said, "I'll make you one like that." They're only about a week or 2 weeks old then. So when he was gone, I said, "When you get a chance, now bring me down a carton. Nice big carton to put that in." And weeks after, he brought me down a carton. So I took that one out of there and bought it in the workshop and put that in the box. The way to go.
Okay. You say there's about a week's labor in one of those cabinets?
One of them?
Yeah.
No, I could do one of them in about 3 days.
Okay. And the type of material you used for these?
Pine.
Pine.
And that's stained in a teak stain. And it looks rich.
So basically, you can use any kind of wood and make it look like whatever you want, just with the stain.
Stain can fix it.
Because there's no way of telling with the work you got here.
Now that one over the corner, that tall one there, that's made of mahogany.
Okay.
That was made from an old table that a friend of mine worked in the Royal Stores. When the Royal Stores quit, he called me and asked me if I'd like to have an old table. They're going to throw them out. I said, "Yeah, I'll take 2 or 3. So I went up and I got 2 tables, and he said, "They're all painted up. I don't know what kind of wood is it, old spruce or something." I brought it home. And when I took the top off, solid mahogany.
Oh, my.
And they were 3 feet wide and 4 feet long.
And you can't even buy that around here, can you?
No.
Oh.
No.
And, Bill, that's something I'd like to talk to you about, too, like the supply of stock in the lumber yards. Well, you know, if you wanted to make a nice piece of furniture, if you wanted to reproduce this table, and you had to go to the lumberyard. What could you buy? What's there for you to make it out of?
Nothing. Not in the lumberyard. Not in stores. If you don't go and get this stuff yourself, you won't get it. They don't carry cherry. You get it in St. John's, but hell, it's better to go to the store and buy the furniture. You've got to ship it in from St. John's.
By the time you buy the material?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, walnut today is about $18 or $20 a square foot. That's what a square foot is a foot board measure.
Mm-hmm.
One piece of board, foot square, 1 inch thick, $18 to $22 a foot.
Amazing.
And oak, when they were selling oak here, when the town woodworkers were in operation, they were selling oak for $5.75 and $7 a foot.
Doesn't make it feasible, does it?
No, no.
I know your son does this kind of work as well. Did he learn it from you?
Not directly. What I mean by that now, he never did stay in the shop when I'd be out there in the evenings or Saturdays and watch me doing something. It was just born into him.
So he had the desire to do it, and he just learned on his own.
But he always had in his mind to be a technician in TV work and radio. And when he was growing up, he'd be fiddling around with wires and microphones and speakers and everything. And one day he made a transmitter, I suppose you call it, or no, a receiver, out of a ball pen. And he used the earphone, and he'd pick up CBC radio on his ball pen.
Really, on a ballpoint pen?
Yeah. And then he went in, when he finished school, and he wanted to go into TV work. So I said, you want to go in TV work? I said, I'll pay for your course with International School, ICS.
Sure.
And so he took his course, and he worked with Roy Mercer there for a while. He got the TV shop out there to Windsor. And then, 22 years ago, 22 years ago, he decided that he was going to Windsor, Ontario. And just before he went up, he got his diploma from the ICS school, first class, excellent, #1. He even sent a pair of arms to hug him. Boy, he couldn't get no better recommendation he got from the school.
So he went away then at a fairly young age.
Yeah, well, he's 43 now. 20-odd years ago, that's...
So he didn't get much time to spend in the shop with you and practice the art of woodworking then?
No.
So I guess we can assume that he learned it on his own.
Yeah.
And what kind of... I'm sorry.
Inherited.
Right. What kind of work is he doing now then? Is he doing the same styles of stuff that Dad did?
Cabinet work, all kinds of furniture, and he works all oak. He works nothing but oak.
Well, I guess his access to the stock is a little better than yours.
Yeah. He can buy it right alongside.
Bill, do you sell any of your work?
Not very much.
You just do it as a hobby?
I do a lot of what do you call it, barter trade.
Bartering, sure.
Yeah. You make something from me or give me something, and I'll give you this.
Okay.
I got a little table out there now, so I'm hoping to get a load of wood for it.
Okay, and that load of wood you'll turn into more furniture?
No, burn.
Oh, I see. Wood burning.
I got that wood to burn.
Well, Bill, is it possible for us to go out and see this table?
Oh, sure.
Okay, well, maybe we'll take a little break.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to take a little break now, and we're going to join Bill in his workshop. We'll be right back. We've joined Bill in his workshop now, and we're going to have a look at some of his current work, some of the things he's done in the last little while. The first thing we're going to refer to is a table you see here behind us. Bill, tell us a little bit about this piece. First of all, how long did it take you, just from scratch to what we've got here?
About 4 hours.
Okay, so there's not too much work involved in a small piece then?
No.
No. Okay, and how far is it from finished?
Well, about another hour's work. It's got to be all what they call rub down off. Just rub your hand on that. It's smooth. Rub your hand on this one.
Okay, this is much rougher, yes.
Yeah, so this is not sanded. When it's all sanded over, that be sanded down, and then you got to get the coat of varnish.
Okay, and this piece is fairly well finished. Now I see a piece behind you here that just looks like a leg set right now. This is another table you're working on, is it?
Yeah, that's one I met. It's another barter trade I'm doing.
Okay, all right, and
it's oak.
Okay, it's going to be a square top table.
24 by 22.
Okay.
It's a square frame, but that's the way you want it made.
Okay, basically the same amount of work in this as there is in this kind of thing. Bill, we've talked about the tables and how much time it takes to make these. Let's talk about some of your tools here for a second. Introduce me to some of them. What's this we have here?
It's what you call a radio arm saw.
Okay,
That can be used for making moldings as well as ripping, cutting off, cross cut, or rip.
And this big unit here behind?
This here is a table saw, which is used for ripping big boards, flat boards.
Okay, now these are two separate units, I would assume. These are you just got them laid together here, okay?
Yeah.
And the big unit we see in the background back here?
That's a bandsaw.
That's a bandsaw. And that's for the finer cuts, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a jointer, is that what you call it over here?
A planer jointer, yeah. That's a 36-inch planer jointer.
And that's what you use to make the fine edge on your wood, the flat edge?
That's,
for when you're laminating it?
Spring off an edge, yeah.
Okay. Now, I would assume you use all these tools to make your last big piece we have here we're going to look at before we go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so can we have a look at this, and probably you can tell us a little bit about it. Now, Bill, tell us, first of all, these little shakes or shingles, they're all individual pieces. Did you make them yourself?
Right. They're all made out of pine.
Okay, and the same with the shakes on the front here?
No, the ones on the front and on the ends, I bought them.
Okay.
On the mainland in a dollhouse factory.
Right. So, was there a plan for this dollhouse?
No.
This is all out of your own?
Yeah. Just come to the old head.
Tell us about some of the pieces, like the windows and the doors and the spindles. Where did it all come from?
Oh, it just dreamt up. Just more or less I thought it would say, no, that'd be a nice looking model for a house. Have a house built, you know.
Sure.
So I just conjured up that.
Well, I was thinking more along like the glass. This is real glass?
No, it's plexi.
Plexiglass, is it? And you cut all that yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and the same with the spindles. You made all those yourself in the works?
Right.
Okay. And the siding here, this
That's vinyl.
That's vinyl? Very good.
The siding is a vinyl. I was trying, what I meant to do was put on the same colors on the house, the blue and the white. But I had never had enough blue.
Okay, and this is actually a working dollhouse, isn't it? Can we turn it around so that we can see?
Right to the back of it, yep.
Because if a kid is going to play with this, it's actually got room and a place to put the dolls and the little tea sets and the works, haven't they?
Now say, you move this one wherever you like, make a room.
Oh, I see.
See, big or small, or take it out.
It's too bad we can't have our own houses like that.
Yeah. I started this just after Christmas.
Okay, and you work on it once a day, once a week?
Yeah, an hour or so. Can't stay at that all day.
No, it gets monotonous because you can see just from looking at the shingles alone that there must be many man-hours in it.
1,000 shingles on there.
1,000 shingles, yeah.
1,000 pieces.
Can we? It's no good to put a dollar value on it because, of
No.
course, you can't put a price on your time, eh?
No. If you're going to sell that, if that's going to be sold for time, they want about $1,500 or $1,800 for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Bill, I know you've got the time to spend on this kind of thing, and you're obviously directing it into your woodworking. And there's obviously no limit to what you can do. If we looked at what you've got in your house and what you've got out here, do you plan on continuing with the woodworking?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just as long as the Lord gives me strength with the two hands and the think, so I can think. I said I'll be at this. When I quit, I hope I'll be up on the hill.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll have no problem with it. The best of luck in your future with it. I hope you get lots of time to work on it.
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you once again for joining us here on State of the Art. Join us again next week when we'll bring you someone else from our local community.